Hello, my dear children. Let's begin with Chapter 10 Cell and Cell Organelles. You must have already studied about the living organisms, and you also know that the living organisms are made up of cell. In this chapter, Cell and Cell Organelles, we will learn about cell in detail. So let's begin. You must have observed in your previous classes that the structure of plant cell and animal cell are quite similar. Now we will do a detailed study about the structure, organ and functions of different organs of the cell. Let's begin to understand how these cells are built up or made. So we are now studying the structure of the cell. Beginning with the outermost layer of the cell, that is the cell wall. Now here you can see the plant cell and the structure of animal cell. Cell wall is present in the plant cell only. Animal cell does not have a cell wall. So as you can see here, the outermost dark green color is nothing but the cell wall. But this outermost dark and rigid thing is not there in the animal cell. Cell wall is found around cells of algae, fungi and plants. Cell wall is an elastic and strong coat around the cell membrane. It is mainly composed of carbohydrates like cellulose and pectin. Polymers like lignin, suberin, cutin are added in cell wall as per the need. Function of the cell wall are to support and protect the cell by preventing entry of excess of water in the cell. That means it does not allow too much of water to get into the cell, so it maintains the balance outside and inside of the cell. Next is plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is the outermost membrane of the animal cell, since they do not have a cell wall. Plasma membrane is the second layer in the plant cell after the cell wall. It is thin, fragile and elastic. The structure of the plasma membrane is such that the protein molecules are embedded in two layers of phospholipids. Plasma membrane is selectively permeable membrane. That means it allows some substance to enter the cell while it prevents other substances. Due to this property, useful molecules of water, salt and oxygen enter the cell and carbon dioxide exits the cell. If any changes occur outside the cell, the cellular environment does not change inside. This is because of the plasma membrane. This condition is known as homeostasis. It is like the refrigerator in your house. Whatever is the condition outside the refrigerator, inside the refrigerator the temperature is cooled and maintained. As I already told you that the plasma membranes are selectively permeable membranes, that means they allow some of the substance to enter the cell while they prevent some of the substance to get out of the cell. So let's understand how these substances are traveling in and out of the cell. The first is endocytosis. Endocytosis is to gulp in or engulf the food and other substances from out of the environment. That means it takes in the food or the oxygen that is required for the cell. So this is known as endocytosis, taking in of substances. Then comes exocytosis, to excrete the waste materials out of the cell. These waste materials could be substances or it could be carbon dioxide that is thrown out of the cell. Endocytosis and exocytosis require the energy from the cell to perform their actions. There are two more processes that does not require energy from the cell to perform their actions. They are quite similar to this endocytosis and exocytosis. Let's continue. The first is diffusion. Diffusion is entry or exit of small molecules like oxygen and carbon dioxide, means it's working with gases. Entry or exit of gases is known as diffusion. Next is very important, which is osmosis. Osmosis is traveling of water from a part with more water to the part with less water through the selectively permeable membrane is osmosis. Now this selectively permeable membrane is nothing but the plasma membrane. Let me tell you this again. Now you focus on the picture of the osmosis. The traveling of water from the part with more water to the part with less water through a selectively permeable membrane is osmosis. Now, osmosis are of three types, or you can say they have three possibilities. Let's understand them. Now, on top you can see three sets and below you can see three sets. The up one is the plant cell and the below one is the animal cell. Let's concentrate on the first. First is hypertonic solution, or you can say the first process of osmosis is hypertonic solution. If the cell has more water than the outside medium, so the water comes out of the cell. That means inside the cell there is more water and outside there is less water. So from more it goes to the lesser place always. So this is known as hypertonic solution. Let's understand one example of this. If fruit pieces are kept in thick saturated sugar solution, that means you have mixed sugar in a glass of water such that you cannot mix any more sugar into it. So that's a saturated solution. The water from fruit pieces enter the sugar solution. So what happens when you keep the fruit in the glass of water? So all the water from the fruit comes out into the sugar solution. So the fruit pieces shrink after a while. If plant cell or animal cell is kept in such kind of solution, then all the water will be shrinked out from the cells. Okay, so this is the hypertonic solution. Moving to isotonic solution. Now, in isotonic solution, it's very simple. The water content outside the cell and inside the cell is the same. So, same amount of water outside, same amount of water inside. So, basically, there is no movement of water at all. Or you can say it's always balanced out. So, in isotonic solution, the water level is always balanced out. Moving to next, the last possibility, that is hypotonic solution. The cell has less water than outside medium. Now here the cell itself is having less water. It does not have maximum water, but outside there is lot of water. Now the cell is feeling thirsty. It's like this. So what is the cell going to do? The cell is going to take in the water. So let me repeat this. The cell that has less water outside the medium, so the water enters the cell. This is called hypotonic solution, or you can also say that it is known as endosmosis. Okay. The example of such hypotonic solution or endosmosis is if raisins is what? It is kishmish. They are kept in water. After some times they swell. Okay. You have seen that if you keep raisins in water, they take in the water and they swell. So these are the three possibilities of solutions. Now we have already finished with the outer structure of the cell. What did we learn? We learned that the plant cell has the cell wall as the outermost covering, and the animal cell has plasma membrane as their outermost covering. Cell wall is not present in the animal cell. Now we have also studied about how the substances travel in and out of the cell. We have studied about endocytosis, that is taking in of the food. We have studied about exocytosis, that is giving out of the products or substances of the cell. Then we studied about diffusion. Diffusion is about in and out of gases in the cell. That means oxygen and carbon dioxide traveling in and out of the cell. Then comes osmosis. Osmosis is traveling of water in and out of the cell. Osmosis has three possibilities. The first is hypertonic. In hypertonic, cell has more water. The cell is hyper, it has more water. Hypotonic, that means cell has less water. So what the cell will do? Cell will take in water from outside. Isotonic, in and out of the cell, the water is same. So there is no water flowing in or out of the cell. Now we will continue the next part in our next video.